Welcome back to another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba podcast. This is episode 34. I know I've been away for a while. I took a 2-month hiatus, but I'm back and I'm better than ever. And let's get into today's show. We got a lot to get to, and I'm ready. So let's do it. Antonio Brown, a lot of drama there. Who would have thought he would get off the field, take his gear off, throw it into the stands, and probably never play another snap in the NFL again? Well, here we go. I got it for you. And supposedly, he didn't want to go into the game because of his ankle injury. But Bruce Arians said, go home if you're going to act like that. I don't know. Wasn't there. But here we go. My first thing, are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in trouble? I wouldn't say that because they have Tom Brady. And when you have the GOAT, and Antonio Brown didn't even play last year's NFC Championship. So they're going to be just fine. Or are they? Well, no Chris Godwin. And you're thrown to a guy named Cyril Grayson. I think they're going to be okay. But Mike Evans, Scotty Miller, a guy the Buccaneer fans are familiar with. And not only that, still got Gronk, Brady's favorite target of all time. O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, guy Brady likes to throw to in the red zone, Cameron Brate. Okay, so next week you got Carolina. You win that game. You're not going to get home field, obviously, because Green Bay got that. Aaron Rodgers again, Mr. MVP. I'd say so. We're going to get into that. I'm not going to cover that right away. Alrighty, so next thing I want to get into is Antonio Brown again. I haven't moved off him yet. This isn't the first time, folks, that he's gotten in trouble like this or done something like this or erratic behavior. Just let me say that. Steelers drama when he went Facebook Live. Everyone remembers that when they beat the Chiefs and he said we're going to, basically kick the Patriots' ass. Mike Tomlin had no clue what was going on, but I actually just researched this today and I found out that Antonio Brown actually was being paid by Facebook Live to do this. Now, this was in 2017, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me. You can let me know after the show. But anyways, Antonio Brown had this whole situation go on, and everyone thought he was crazy, which at the time he was. But now when you look at it again, everything he did then in that locker room was not justifiable at all. But he was being paid by Facebook to do it, and now most people go Facebook Live all the time, or TikTok Live, or Instagram Live. So this isn't nothing. This isn't anything new. Back then it was. Okay, so get on with your point. Well, the next thing is when he requested a trade from the Steelers, and then he left. He got traded ultimately, excuse me, and then he went to the Raiders. And everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, AB is going to be a great fit for the Raiders. He's going to be a great fit." Well, obviously that didn't work out because it was very short-lived, and the whole situation with their GM Mike Mayock, who previously worked for NFL Network and is still the GM of the. Now they were the Oakland Raiders then. Now they're the Las Vegas Raiders, and they're actually about to make the playoffs. Anyways, Antonio Brown kicked the football supposedly at Mike Mayock and called him a cracker, and all this crazy stuff happened then. So like I said, this is nothing new. The next one was obviously when the Bucs signed him, he was on a really short leash. Arians said that we're not going to put up with anything. If anything happens with Antonio Brown, he probably will get cut. Well, long story short here, the fake vaccine card thing happened this year. Okay, right? So that's a 3-game suspension. And also in the meantime, he was hurt with an ankle injury, right? Okay, so now he comes back from his ankle injury and the fake vaccine, the 3-game suspension, along with his teammate Mike Edwards, who also received a 3-game suspension for a fake vaccine card. And hey, you're lucky if you're in the NFL, because if you're not in the NFL, you're probably going to serve some jail time for a fake vaccine card. That's a federal offense, right? So, anyways, Brown comes back. He served his 3-game suspension along with his nursing his ankle injury. Now we're playing the Jets, right? They're playing the Jets. Supposedly freaked out about a situation that happened on the sideline, or now they were trying to say he was trying to say it was his bonus that he was upset about. But dude, you had 26 yards in the game. All you had to do was shut your mouth, play some football, and get your bonus, or continue the season and maybe get another ring. Now you're probably never going to play in the NFL again. All right, so Antonio Brown, he's done. I think everyone knows that. Then after the game, actually not even that, mid-game, he's waiting for an Uber I saw on Twitter, looking for a ride. And then supposedly he was picked up. Now he's back home in Florida. Anyway, enough with Antonio Brown. It's just, last thing I will say, the guy needs help. Like Tom Brady said in his press conference, we're here for AB, which that's the right thing to do. Brady did the exact thing. That was the right thing to do. He's not going to trash mouth his teammate. He's one of his really good friends. And Antonio Brown should have a lot of respect for Tom Brady and should be thanking him and kissing the ground he walks on. And I'm not kissing Tom Brady's ass. I'm just being honest. You let the dude basically come back into your life, come and sleep in your home, basically stay with you in New England and in Tampa to help him get back on his feet. That's what friends do. I would do the same exact thing for my friends if they needed something. And I don't even own my own place right now. I'm still at home in college, but that's the right thing to do. You do that for your friends, and he really saw something in AB. Set aside the whole drama of, oh, Brady just wants a Super Bowl ring and with AB, and okay, yeah, great, but also at the same time, when you're a man or you're a class act human being, that's what you do. You're there for people when they need you the most. And that's what Brady did, and that's how he left it. He said, we want AB to get help, and that's all that matters. Enough of Antonio Brown. I'm going on to my betting drama yesterday. Whew. Okay, Steelers-Browns tonight. That's a 8:30 game. I think it's the last Monday night game of the season. Anyways, long story short, here we go. So yesterday, I put some money in on Seahawks game, Russell Wilson over in touchdowns. That one hit. Excited about that one. Tyler Lockett and Amari Cooper absolutely screwed me. I thought Tyler Lockett was going to get at least 58 yards, right? Amari Cooper, he shut the bed. The Cowboys didn't play very good yesterday. So I was like, all right, I'm feeling hot, right? Okay, I've got the Packers and the Vikings game coming up tonight, last night. I thought, okay, Rodgers is going to hit his over in yards. I got that. And then I got Adams over in yards as well, and I got Devontae Adams touchdown for one, right? That was kind of a gimme. Anyways, so that was that. I missed on those. I didn't place those in time. Then fast forward to the Lakers-Timberwolves game, which the Lakers have been struggling all year. I was not touching that spread. I was like, no, I'm not touching that spread. So anyways, I'm going off of, all right, LeBron's going to hit 31 points, right? He's averaged 30-plus in 7 straight games. Well, that didn't happen. LeBron's going to hit 10.5 rebounds. Well, that didn't happen. He was playing center. I thought, hey, that's how it happened. So I think I'm staying away from the Browns-Steelers game tonight, even though Pittsburgh opened up at -2.5. I could have sworn I saw yesterday Cleveland was favored by 1. Anyways, all right, well, Pittsburgh is favored by 2.5. That's the spread for that one. So how about Jamarr Chase? Jamarr Chase, ladies and gentlemen, LSU receiver. Everyone knows who he is. He opted out of the 2020 season. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But how about Jamarr Chase? 236 yards yesterday, 13 touchdowns on the season. And did he just lock up Offensive Rookie of the Year? He might have. Some people say it could have been, it still could be Mac Jones in the conversation. But I think after a performance like that against a really hot Chiefs team, I think you got to give it to Jamarr Chase. Now, I'm not saying you just give it to him right now, obviously, because the season hasn't ended yet. But if the season were to end, well, it's going to end, Sunday for, some teams aren't making the playoffs. Anyways, but I think Jamarr Chase is the Rookie of the Year. I think you have to give it to him, especially with 13 touchdowns, and he broke the all-time rookie record for receiving yards. Jamarr Chase is very, very good. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Odell Beckham Jr. And while you're just like, oh, whoa, because he's an LSU receiver. No, because their similarity after the catch is very, very similar. Although Jamarr Chase is a bit bigger, they're just open fieldness is very similar the way they catch the ball and they react after the catch. Their both yards or catch are unreal. Odell Beckham Jr., another guy, 5 touchdowns now since he's joined the Los Angeles Rams. And some people out there are saying, oh, Odell's washed. It doesn't look like that to me. He looks just fine to me. Caught the game-winning catch against the Ravens. Okay, yeah, sure. Maybe a banged-up secondary, but still, they're an NFL team, and that's the way I think of it. They're still an NFL team. It doesn't matter. They won the game. Odell got the game-winning touchdown. Cooper Kupp had the game with 95 receiving yards. He also got a touchdown. Odell had, I think, 37 yards and a touchdown as well. So Odell's a big factor, folks. He's still, in my book, he's a top 10 receiver because he's still that really, really good red zone threat. He's not even that old. I think he's, 28, 29? Anyways, so like I said, I call Jamarr Chase Odell in the flesh. Very similar when they run after the catch. This is from my notes. Chase is just a bit bigger. All right. Moving on to the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers gets home field advantage again. This guy's got to cash in another one of these Super Bowls one of these days, right? The guy's 39 years old. He's got to win another Super Bowl. Maybe this is the year. I think this could be it for the Packers, and you're just saying, oh, no, you're just riding the Packers because they're the 1 seed. No, I'm not. They're playing without Jair Alexander, their best corner, their best offensive lineman, David Bakhtiari. Zadarius Smith, one of their best pass rushers, is out as well. Rodgers' favorite target, obviously, besides Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, has been out now for a few weeks with a core injury. So they potentially could get those three guys back yet, and they have home field advantage. And Rodgers is playing another MVP type season with 35 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I mean, unreal. So Packers are going to be very dangerous. I think they're going to be super, super hard to beat, especially at home, especially in the cold weather. They're playing really well. They're actually running the football with A.J. Dillon really, really well as of late. They're not, relying so heavily on Aaron Jones to, run in between the tackles, because that's not his kind of game. Even though they paid him to be their, all-around running back, A.J. Dillon's taken a really big role as of late. So, in my opinion, I think Green Bay is going to be the team to beat out of the NFC. I don't trust Dallas. And the one reason why I don't trust Dallas is because of Dak Prescott. Why are you saying that? Dak Prescott just hasn't been that good this year in big games. So that's kind of where I'm at. Kyler Murray, he played really well yesterday, Mr. Kyler. So I don't think Arizona can beat them on the road either, just because I don't know how Hopkins' injury is I don't know how he's gonna come back after injury. I think it was an MCL. He sprained his MCL, ACL. It was MCL, ACL sprain, but it's going to be tough for him to come back fully healthy, especially in the cold with that knee injury like that. I don't like their chances. I don't. Only person I think really realistically, the Rams would have to play a perfect game against the Packers to win that in Lambeau, because you're not going to get home field advantage, obviously. And Tampa coming back to Green Bay, potentially, I don't know. I really think it's going to come down to, Green Bay and maybe Tampa or LA. I just don't see any one of those teams beating Green Bay in Green Bay, especially the way Rodgers is playing. And potentially this could be Rodgers and Adams' last season together in Green Bay. I'm going Green Bay for my pick out of the NFC for now. That's where I'm going with. All right, moving on. How about Tom Brady yesterday with the Jets? I think it was Eccles, a corner, that picked Tom Brady off, and he was asking for his autograph after the game. How about that? You're the GOAT when you're getting an autograph, when you're giving an autograph to a player that you played against this game. And Brady was a class act. He said he signed the autograph. Why not? I thought it was pretty cool. Tom Brady he signed an autograph for some Jets players. Pretty cool. And Brady got it done again. Didn't need AB in the second half. Gronk had 115 yards. Who would have thought Tom Brady's throwing to Cyril Grayson Jr., guy out of I don't even know what college, because I don't even know who Cyril Grayson is. But it's pretty cool because Brady's done this his whole career with no-name guys. Tom Brady doesn't need big-name receivers. He puts the ball right in their hands. He doesn't need them. 28-24, your final score. Actually, my buddy bet on the second half, and he hit. It was Bucks were -3.5 to win, and they closed it out. So hard to bet against the GOAT. So new MVP odds. Rodgers is -400. Brady's +500. And how about Joey B, Mr. Joe Burrow, +1,000. He kind of came up late in these MVP odds, even though he's had a hell of a season. He's had 34 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. And not only that, how about these last two games? I think he has over 1,000 yards, close to 1,000 yards passing in 2 games. Burrow's going to be very, very good if he's not already. Patriots blow out the Jags, going to the AFC 50-10. My buddy was talking to me earlier today, and he's like, 50 points? It's the Jags, man. It's the Jags. They were banged up. No Josh Allen. They were missing like 10 guys. Not quarterback Josh Allen. Defensive end Josh Allen, who picked off Josh Allen in a game earlier this year. So, anyways, but another 10-win season for the Patriots, looking for 11 against Miami, who Miami actually will not be making the playoffs after they lost to the Titans. I called that one, but I don't think Tua is that guy. Just don't think he's that guy. Anyways, I'm done with the NFL because we got one game left in the regular season, and then it's playoff time. I'm moving on to the NCAA. Is it just Bama and Georgia versus everybody else in the SEC? It's always been the SEC, folks. It's always been the SEC. It's never going to change. The recruiting process for the SEC is unreal. And you heard Saban. You know what Saban is all about. It's always been about recruiting. Georgia's opened up as a -2.5 point favorite. I don't know how, but they are. It's very hard to bet against St. Nick. Anyways, no, Georgia's open up at -3. I'm checking my notes again. Anyways, the line could fluctuate from here, but from now until next Monday, which is a week away, and I can't wait for that game. It's the two powerhouses going up and at it. versus everyone else. Everyone else is just away. It's just those two. It's almost like they're playing in a bubble. Just those two versus the world. All the other games, they don't matter. Those bowl games are a bunch of wish-washes. They don't matter. It's all about next Monday night in Indianapolis, Bama versus Georgia. Stetson Bennett gets his chance versus Mr. Heisman Bryce Young, and I'm all for it. I love it. I love SEC. It reminds me of the LSU-Alabama game. Heck, I think it was like 2013. No, that was the FSU won that year. I forget what year it was, but it was somewhere around there. LSU versus Alabama. I think the national championship was like 6-3, 9-3. It was something like that. That was when Tyrann Mathieu was there. Anyways, I have to look at that one again, but it was a hell of a bowl game. That was when it was still BCS. Anyways, this is kind of what it feels like. It might be high scoring. It may not be. I'd love a low scoring game. Two powerhouses up front seven smashing each other in the mouth. I love it. How about this cool stat here from PFF on Twitter, college football. Cool stat here. 3 Bama running backs. Bo Scarborough, I know you remember him. Didn't do anything in the NFL. Still haven't heard of him since college. Brian Robinson, Alabama starting running back this year. Could have a nice solid career. I could definitely see it. And then Josh Jacobs, you all know, Las Vegas Raiders guy. 85 grade for Jacobs. Robinson 86.5 and Scarborough 90.4. Meat and potatoes, folks. Alabama offensive line has always been stout, and that's what they knew. And you know what? Back to the Cincinnati game, Alabama from the first start of from the first play of the game, they punched them right in the mouth. They knew right away. We watch film. We saw on tape that their D line is very weak. We're gonna go right at them. And you know what? Belichick and Saban are so similar to that aspect of they know how to execute perfectly. You think they're going to throw the ball down the field? Nope, he's going to run the ball. You think he's going to run it? Nope, he's going to throw it. You just can't predict what they're going to do. They like to stack the line of scrimmage. They like to punch you in the mouth. That's their game plan. Belichick did it against the Bills a couple weeks ago when I was actually laying in bed, like ill as ill. Couldn't even, but anyways. But yeah, Belichick, that's what he did against the Bills. Mac Jones only threw the ball 3 times. Bryce Young's first touchdown of the game was to a guy you probably don't even know who, Slade Bolden, because John Mechie tore his ACL. He's out. He's going to have a great career in the NFL. But anyways, that's not what I'm trying to get here at. I'm just saying Belichick and Saban are so similar in that aspect of you don't know what to expect from them. They may run the ball down your throat. They may throw it down your throat. You just don't know. Their game plans are perfectly executed. That's the way Saban went out against Cincinnati. Even though they didn't play that good in the first half, their defense showed up. Their offensive line showed up. But you know why? Because they got better athletes. And that's why they won. They showed why that they were the better team. All these people coming in saying, oh, Cincinnati's going to win, or Cincinnati has a chance. No shot. Not against Alabama. And it's not common knowledge. It's recruiting. It's the guys up front. It's their front seven versus Alabama's. Who are you taking? Are you taking a Ford truck or are you taking a Toyota Camry? You're taking a Ford truck. Okay. So I got one here from Dalton B. Miller from Twitter. This is an interesting one because Kirk Herbstreit was talking about guys who opt out, and he was really upset a couple days ago. How about this, though? A guy you know who, Micah Parsons, arguably could be Defensive Player of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. Rashawn Slater, absolute monster out of Northwestern. And Jamarr Chase, who I talked about earlier in the show, all opted out not to play football in 2020. They're all playing at a borderline all-pro level as rookies in 2021. How about that one? You can take that one. I don't have much else to say on it because those 3 guys are all pro and they didn't play in their bowl games. Yeah, Jamar. Yeah, you want to know why? Because they got themselves ready for the NFL. They knew if I want to make sure I'm ready for the NFL, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to make sure in my willpower that whatever it takes. If I've got to do this, if I've got to go across the country to train for a couple months to get ready for the draft and the combine, I'm going to do it. Look, they're going to cash in just fine. You want to know why they figured themselves? Why would I go and get myself hurt in a bowl game like Matt Corral just did and fractured his ankle and could have hurt his draft stock and cost himself millions? Listen, folks, you have to be smart. Mind over matter. I always tell myself that. Mind over matter. It's very important. It's very important to think to yourself and go, do I want to risk myself getting hurt in that game for a bowl game? That means absolutely nothing? Absolutely zero? No. I'm going to make sure that I protect myself and my family and everyone around me to make sure that I'm going to be good for the NFL. That's exactly what those 3 guys did. Moving on to the NBA, got a couple more things here before I wrap up and I get out of your hair. Biggest headline of the night, headline of last night's game was Jaylen Brown with 50 points, a guy who's kind of been in and out of the lineup this year with nursing a hamstring injury all season. But he dropped a 50 burger. He went to McDonald's and said, "Hey, I want a Big Mac from Orlando. I want a Big Mac from Orlando." 50 points, 11 rebounds. He's the fifth player in Celtics history to drop a 50 and 10. I don't know. I don't want to open this debate up, but Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum? I don't know. I mean, they're both being paid by the Celtics, but anyways, how about the Lakers getting back to 500 last night? Oh, whoop-de-doo. Well, they won 2 straight. I mean, Vogel's back now after COVID, and they're trying to, fix the lineup situation that they ran with no big last night. I was listening to a Twitter space / podcast on how the Lakers went about last night, and I really love Stanley Johnson. Guy out of Arizona. He's kind of had a wishy-washy career. He's still really young, really good perimeter defender. Love the way he plays, his tenacity, and he brings that young aspect to the Lakers that they haven't had all season, because you've got older guys like Avery Bradley on the wing who actually had a pretty good game last night. A guy like Malik Monk he's only 23 years old, but he's starting to come into his own as well. Really liking the way he's playing. You know what he kind of reminds me of? Kind of reminds me of J.R. Smith with just a little more confidence. And, obviously when he was on the Cavs with LeBron, obviously J.R. was really athletic in his career when he was younger. But Malik Monk, I love the way he plays. Now back to Stanley Johnson, he adds that little bit of tenacity what they need. They need like that guy that can kind of like punch you in the mouth, like scrappy defender, a guy that they've been, looking for all season. And they signed him to a 10-day contract when they first got him, and they signed him to another 10-day. Best move they could have done was get rid of Isaiah Thomas. Good scorer, great guy, solid guy off the bench, going to give you about, maybe between 9 to 11 points a game. Not going to get it done defensively. They need guys that are going to help them out defensively, because as of this season so far, their identity from when Vogel got there was all about defense. Just like when he coached the Pacers, it's all about defense. But I will tell you this, Lakers, they're not out of it. The West isn't, it's good, but it's not great this year. I mean, the Lakers are 19-19 and they're the 7th seed. Kawhi Leonard's been out. You can take advantage. You're probably not going to pass the Warriors or the Suns. So Suns, Warriors, and Jazz, you're probably not going to catch. But you can get a 4 seed. You can get a 5 seed. So there's a lot of time left. And the way LeBron's been playing at age 37, I don't even need to get into that. But the Lakers' next matchup is Tuesday night, and maybe they'll get themselves on a nice little run. Anthony Davis is still out; he's nursing that MCL sprain, but I think they're going to be just fine. I don't know if they're going to win the championship, but one thing I do want to talk about the Lakers before I wrap this up here is Westbrook. He had 20 points, 9 turnovers last night. 9 turnovers, that's a lot for one guy. But Melo and LeBron defended him for his turnovers and said, it's just basketball. But Westbrook's very, very, very cocky when he goes to the microphone. That's just his style. That's just his attitude. But sometimes you have to learn to respect the media, and that's something he hasn't been able to do, and I don't think he'll ever do it. Maybe if they win a championship, he'll change. But Carmelo Anthony, too, he was another guy last night who was solid off the bench for the Lakers. But he had 30 minutes last night. That's a lot of minutes for Melo for an older guy. But solid guy off the bench for the Lakers. He's been pretty good all year for the most part. Anyways, like I said, Vogel went with a small ball lineup last night with LeBron at center. Didn't hit 10.5 rebounds, but doesn't matter. They were getting killed in the paint by Naz Reid for the first half. Second half came around. They kind of adjusted, and the Timberwolves didn't have D'Angelo Russell, didn't have Towns, so they didn't really have that, scoring ability. It was really low scoring. Actually, my buddy bet on the under, and he got it. It was 222, and it hit way under that. So, anyways, props out there to you guys who bet on the game last night for 222 and under. But the Lakers are going to have to figure out what they're going to do with DeAndre Jordan before the season starts to go on. And what are they going to do with the trade deadline? I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, last thing here I want to talk about is there's 2 guys coming back, I guess, supposedly. Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving. They're both coming back. How about that? Whoa, my goodness, that's scary for the NBA, because those 2 guys are really good when they're on the top of their game, right? Klay Thompson, some people forget, had 60 points off. I think it was like 11 dribble. No, it was like 10 dribbles, I think. It was something like that. But anyways, 60 points one time. So Klay Thompson's very good. And the Warriors are the first in the West without Klay Thompson. What does that mean they're going to do when he comes back? Oh, man. Anyways, here we go. So he's nearing his return for January 9th against the Cavs, a team he knows very well because they beat them in their own building when LeBron was there. How about this, though? Another name, Mr. Unvaccinated himself. Kyrie Irving is supposedly nearing his return against the Indiana Pacers. So now you're getting Kyrie back at full strength. You got Harden. You got Durant. Minus Harden and Durant. Harden's starting to come into his own. He's been playing really well as of late. But Kyrie, I think it's going to take a little bit for him to get back in. He's still really young, but you haven't been in game shape. You haven't played in, I think, 5-6 months. So it's going to take a little bit for him to get back. But Nets are scary because they're still the first team. They're the first seed in the Eastern Conference Finals. And my last thing here, how about DeMar DeRozan hitting 2 back-to-back buzzer beaters in 2 straight nights? And, of course, ESPN put that stat. But it is pretty cool that DeMar DeRozan did that. DeMar DeRozan for MVP? I don't know. I'll leave it at that. But I want to say thank you guys for listening to me talk for this episode 34 of the Inquisitive Mamba podcast. It is just me for today. Tomorrow we have a special guest joining tomorrow's show. We're talking about the Lakers. We're talking about it all. We're wrapping it up here tonight on the East Coast around 6:45. That's going to do it from us. Make sure to tune in weekly. This is on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. We're throwing TikTok clips out there. We're on Instagram, and we are on Anchor. I want to say thank you to Anchor for allowing me to put my podcast on there. And that's going to do it for the IQM. We're out. We'll see you tomorrow.